Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for attending. Today is Wednesday, April 8th. It is 7:03 p.m. and this meeting of the Wellington Sustainability and Energy Committee will come to order. Um, Present for commissioners are myself, John Tehan, Don Berg, and William Bennell. Um, 3 out of 4 members being present, we have a quorum. And welcome guests. Kathy Demers is here, Wellington Conservation Commission, and Katie Meter from Sustainable CT is also here. So um, thank you both for attending. Um,
My friend
I
Brenda
have three
may
present.
and is
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I thought maybe I was muted, but I'm not. My friend Brenda may also show up to watch the meeting.
Okay.
So,
Okay. We are online right now, so anybody that joins, I'll make sure to admit them. Present to speak. Kathy, I don't know if you wanted to say anything for present to speak. No? Katie, thanks for being here. So we're going to go right on to number 4, old business. And A, Katie Meter will discuss sustainable CT with the board. We'll discuss that Wellington voted to join sustainable CT at recent town meeting. So, hi, Katie.
Hello. Like I said earlier, it's great to be here. We are absolutely thrilled that Willington joined. I feel like it's been a long time coming.
Yep. So the biggest question that I have about sustainable CT is the outreach to underserved or minority folks in town. And so, you had some ideas on that. I want to take some notes and get the ball rolling on that because for us to qualify for any of these, we need to use the outreach. I forget what it's called. The
Yes,
the
the
documents
equity
that you guys
toolkit.
have.
Sure.
Yes, there you
So,
go.
just as a quick recap, also Kathy, so I don't know if you've heard of Sustainable CT, but one of the largest offerings that we have is our certification program. So, just like the Olympics, it's bronze, silver, and gold. And the only sort of hard action requirement for bronze and silver is completing the equity toolkit. So you have to do one action in each of our 12 categories, a certain number of points. But the equity toolkit is action 1.1, the first one in our program. And a large part of that action is reaching out to the community. So just once again, to summarize, the purpose of the equity toolkit is to complete a project in our program with
okay.
feedback from the community. So there's sort of two ways that we see this happening. The first one is the municipality in some way very purposefully engages with a diverse set of people within the community. We see this through surveys, we see this through, tabling at events and outreach. But the first way that we do it, that we often see municipalities completing this is through that very intentional direct outreach. And then the second way that we often see people complete outreach is just general feedback. So, for example, if you have a really thriving senior community and you've heard a lot of feedback that your seniors want more of a certain type of programming at your library, that would be an example of, the municipality just sort of happens to hear this feedback and then incorporates something because of it. So, to summarize the equity toolkit, there is information input from a community in Wellington. The municipality makes the effort to really listen and then implement something based on that feedback that they've heard.
Okay.
So I think, John, we had spoken about this a little bit in the past. And you had said that there was not really a lot of like minority groups. And so you'd probably focus on a different underserved community. Are you still thinking of going that route?
Yeah, I think we really have to. As far as minorities are concerned, we have about a 3% Latino population here in town, and about the same for Black population. So we don't have like a whole lot of minorities to find in town. But on the other hand, we do have a high poverty rate. I think a lot of that is due to the number of college kids that
Mm.
live here. We're right outside of Yukon. We're 5 minutes away from campus. There's at least, I think, 600 or 700 college students living in town. They're not known for being rich, so hence I think the high poverty level
Yeah.
that we look at. I don't have any data to back that up, though. That's my gut feel on this. And while my gut is huge, it may not always be right. So so um, Kathy, you and I have talked about that. That's I would really love to have some actual demographic data to back that up before I try to bring it up in any public policy discussion. So, Katie, I don't know if there's anything that you could do to find out, why is our poverty level is at 14%, which
Yeah,
is high. And I really do think that it's a result of, I mean, there's not that many people in town. I think there's about under 5,000 people in town. If
right.
600 of them are college kids, that's 12% of the town right there.
Yeah.
Um, and so, those college kids don't have a whole lot of money, and you would certainly expect to see them living more or less in poverty, just because, they need to go to school. So, yeah. So would that, how exactly would we then go about, we could do senior citizens, you were saying as well? We could treat them as a underserved community or someone to do outreach to?
Yes. So two things came to mind when you're talking about like wanting to find more information about the statistics. Data Haven is a really good resource. They do equity profiles. They're a bit up in the air with federal funding and all of that, but I can take a look through and see if that would be helpful. And then also
Okay.
Sustainable TT has free equity coaches. So this is a professional who works in equity and is also an expert in our program. It's free class,
Okay.
and they're really, really helpful because unlike myself, they're not only experts in our program, but like I said, they're also experts in equity. So if you wanted to discuss like the real nitty-gritty details of, finding out what populations in your community you'd best like to serve, that's a great, like I said, expert professional that we can help connect you with if that's something you'd be
Okay,
interested
great. Yeah, if you could send me some information on both of
in.
those.
Sure.
I think I've looked at Data Haven and I wasn't able to find
Okay.
any exact,
Yeah,
reason for the higher poverty level in Wellington. But it could be my searching skills aren't what they should be. I'm not sure. So, but yeah, if you could send me some links for that both of those, that'd be awesome.
for sure. And on in terms of who you could target with outreach or who you could target for the equity toolkit, we do see a lot of municipalities have a lot of success with certain population groups. So, for example, like youth in their community. For example, it sounds like you would really maybe benefit from college students in your community, senior citizens. So, I think you and I had this conversation on the phone already, John, but when we say, equity or certain population, we don't always just mean race. So it sounds like you already are on a really good track, and that equity coach would probably be very helpful in figuring out the exact details of data and who to reach out to.
Wow, that's terrific. Um, Recently, we had an opportunity. The congressional directed spending grants were open for a week. They don't give you a whole lot of time to try to apply for these things. But I wanted to see if we could put something together for the town. Um, Bill Bonnell has a friend named Jeremy who is a Eversource certified heat pump installer. And so Jeremy got us a quote for replacing the current um, propane boilers that are on the roof of the library with dual fuel electric heat pumps that are backed up by propane, so that in extreme cold weather you still have propane to use to make sure that you have the building is heated. And so he came through with a total of $185,000 for replacing those heat pumps up on the roof. I had also examined that roof, or not that, the library roof. The library has one really nice south-facing roof. The trees are about 60 or 70 feet away from it, so it gets great sun all day long. Um, that we can fit 83 solar panels on that roof, and I had done those calculations with panels that were 440 watts apiece. Ends up being 36,000 watts of power. It would generate well over 42,000 kilowatt hours of power every year. Um, that kind of thing would save us a ton of money. We currently have a relatively high electric bill at the library, and that would certainly take a big chunk of it off. On top of that, I'd like to have batteries in there just so that the library has some backup power as well, in case the grid goes down and it needs to be, used as a warming center or a cooling center. It could be used for either. And if we have heat pumps, it's very efficient to cool a building with heat pumps. Um, So, my thought was to get batteries, solar, and heat pumps. The total on all of it came out to $403,000.
Wow.
Unfortunately, the application process for CDS is about, yay long. And as you add a new category, you get a whole new section that's got all kinds of questions. Mike, our selectman, he couldn't get it done. He had two proposals. He had ours for the library and had a different proposal, and he didn't get either one of them done in time, just because he's got other things to do. He can't be, he's first selectman. He has a lot to do, and he can't be just online trying to fill out this application all day long. So neither one of those went through, but towards that end, I think that I really do want to try and find other grant opportunities to try and pay for this so that the town can reap the benefits. The budget season is here, and we've had a hell of a time getting our budget down to a manageable number. And I think, long-term savings like these would go a long way towards helping us balance our budget more, year over year, because prices go up. And, if we're generating our own power, then I don't care what the price of power is, because we can generate our own. So we're going to look for other grant opportunities there, and that would probably be a project that we could put through as part of Sustainable CT, correct?
So we do give out lots of points towards certification, especially for municipal solar installation, heat pumps, any campaigns or educational events, you'd get points for it. I will say the project does have to be complete in order to earn points. So while you would get an insane number of points, for reference, you would get maybe like up to 70 points for doing multiple solar installations, and you only need 200 points to get bronze certification.
Okay,
Because solar panels would need to be installed. But any educational
right.
events or campaigns you do leading up to that, you could earn credit for that.
Okay. Any project like that is likely to take at least a year to
Mhm.
come to fruition. I would say probably longer, depending on interconnection weights and stuff like that. But I think with the batteries, we wouldn't have so many problems as far as exporting power is concerned. We could hopefully save most of the power and then use the batteries at night and then save excess power again the next day. Um, but that's a project that I really do want to pursue. Um, so, um, uh, well, I think we should probably start with, like you said, maybe an educational outreach program, do something at the library in the community room and invite people, either through our town website or somehow get the word out that we're going to be having uh, an energy talk. Um, when we put through the charter to join Sustainable CT in town meeting, one of the interesting comments that we got was from a man named John Blessington in town. Um, John asked me directly, "Does this mean I'm going to have to give up my oil burner?" And yeah, I kind of laughed at him too. I said, "For the record, I threw away my oil burner 5 years ago. It was the best decision I ever made." But your mileage may vary, right? I mean, if you don't want to give up your oil burner, go ahead, keep burning oil. Look at the most recent geopolitical shock, which just seemed to settle out yesterday, right? Price of a barrel of oil was $115 day before yesterday. It's down to $73 today.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with a volatile product like that, it's time to stop dealing with it. And I really think that, in my case, I've got solar and geothermal. I'm not touched by that. I drive past the gas station in my electric car and laugh at the price of gasoline. You know, my car charges from solar. I love it. So, those are the kind of things that I really like to see the town adopt because the energy just falls from the sky daily. Um, so yeah, I think probably our best bet would be to begin with the equity coach and hold some kind of an educational event about the possibilities in your home. Um, Katie, can you answer this for me? In Massachusetts, we're able to do community solar, where people who, let's say, have too much shade, they could invest in a community solar project and reap the benefit from it with net metering. Is that not available in Connecticut?
I'm actually not sure, but part of my position is I work very closely with the Green Bank outreach team. So I can ask them and get
Uh,
back to you.
yeah, if you don't mind, because I really think there's a lot of trees in Wellington, right?
Yeah.
It's a very rural and very wooded area. My house wasn't ideal for solar, but I have a west-facing roof that gets sun all afternoon long. 11 o'clock in the morning on, I get great sun on the panels on the front of my house. Um, it's a 11,000 watt system. It makes 10,000 kilowatt hours of power. If I was facing south and didn't have the trees, I'd probably get 13,000 kilowatt hours of power, or, closer to it, 12,500, somewhere around there. It's still worth doing. 10,000 kilowatt hours of power at current rates equals my loan payment, right?
Mm.
I'd be giving that money to Eversource. So I'd rather give that money to myself, and in a couple of years that loan is paid off, and then I'm not getting any younger. Retirement is an option, and to not have giant energy bills and not be subject to the geopolitical shocks is really good peace of mind. So those are the kind of things that I want to educate people about. For those people who are interested in throwing their oil burners away, I'm here to help.
That's
So
one of Sustainable CT's program offerings. Like I said, certification's a big one. Another big one is our free no cost technical assistance programs. And like I
mhm,
just said, I'm on the Green Bank team as well. And the Green Bank has experts, and it's actually myself. I'm the person who would coordinate with municipalities, and we can
uh,
host a workshop talking about sustainable home financing, or for example, there are CPACE or solar map programs. So if
mhm,
that's something you're
yeah.
interested in too, it usually takes about a month or two. We just meet, make sure that the dates and times coordinate. We can tailor the workshops to your interests. It sounds like that would be a really great fit for Wellington.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. I think that if we're going to take a first action with sustainable CT, that's where I'd like to go.
Mhm.
Don, I don't see Bill on the call right now. I think he had to talk to a client. But Don, your thoughts on that?
Oh, first of all, I guess I'd say that I don't know. I don't understand it all that well. Um, I certainly there's probably certainly a need for technical assistance. I know that we've gotten technical assistance in the past with regards to batteries at Button Hill, our senior housing facility.
Mhm.
So I could use some expertise uh, with regards to air to water heat pumps, whether that makes sense. And then
Mhm.
April 1, the Green Bank just came out with some rather, I'll hesitate to say spectacular incentives, but the incentives are very good. And certainly from the experts that looked at batteries 2 years ago, costs seem to be 40% lower, 30 to 40% lower for batteries. So um, we need some expertise on that. I did chat with our salesperson at Earthlight saying it'd be nice to have somebody out there contact me to kind of at least kind of get me up to speed on the whole concept of what may be available, even though we would probably likely have to have three different quotes before we did anything. So um, all the input we can get would be great. The equity coaches, are they there to tell you the cost benefit and payback periods
No.
or
So the
loans?
equity coaches, they don't tell you anything. It's in the name is their coaching. So the goal of the equity coaching is they work with you and help you develop those discussions regarding equity, community outreach, idea formation. They won't help you implement it. They won't really, officially tell you yes or no. They're really just a resource in that idea development phase, or a really good resource if you have questions about, like we were talking about earlier, where data comes from or what group to focus on.
Right. I
Okay.
think it's the technical assistance. You got the technical assistance confused with the equity coach there, Don. I think.
Okay. Well, I think of equity as loans, and it's not that. It's
No,
No.
this is the outreach equity
and
kind of thing.
as to how we even get to bronze level, I'm still kind of baffled. How do we accumulate all those points in order to?
I think this equity is the E in DEI. So,
Okay.
Bill, we were just talking with Katie, and what she suggested for our first activity in here in Wellington for sustainable CT to get us started on our path towards certification would be to do a community outreach program. And they have equity coaches available, and the Data Haven has some information for us about, who exactly lives in Wellington, who is it that lives in poverty in Wellington, and those kinds of things. Um, so what we'd be looking to do is use their equity toolkit and host a, community education event sometime maybe 2 months in the future, thereabouts. If you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them.
Do we have any town uh, events coming up where we might hang out a banner or something like that?
We have Wellington Day
Yeah.
coming up in May, right?
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think if I could jump in, I think there's a bit of confusion with the equity toolkit and then the green bank programs. So the equity toolkit is about anything, and it's usually a process like we were talking about earlier with feedback. You could incorporate like a single event or one of the green bank workshops with it, but you would have to prove in your equity because the equity toolkit is basically like a couple page write up that you submit to us. So you'd have to prove in the write up that people in the community asked for this, that the town solicited like what events would you like? The community said we want to hear from the Green Bank about solar financing. Then you host
Okay.
the event. That being said,
Okay.
you can host the event and earn points. It would just be separate from the equity toolkit. So it'd be much faster. But I just wanted to point out that they are most likely it'll be easier if you do two separate things for that.
Okay. So then maybe we would just schedule a community event. Sorry, Kathy, I'll get to you in a sec. Maybe we just schedule a community event and then do the outreach to satisfy the equity toolkit, and then once we get feedback from the outreach, take whatever action the feedback tells us is something is desirable. Does that
We
make
Yeah,
might be
sense?
able to do something at the Wellington Community Room or something like that. The library
Yeah,
community room.
yeah. Kathy, go ahead.
Well, the way I'm understanding it is we almost have to identify an underserved population and then kind of survey them. So is that my understanding? So we would decide, for example, that seniors in our town are underserved, or if we can identify people that are in poverty. Is that something, for example, we could do through our human services programs because they provide, food share and a lot of services to people in our town that come in for help with paying for energy or whatever. They might have an idea, a general idea of that those people in town that are struggling financially. Would that be something we could use as like to identify a population?
yes, that's something that we've seen a lot of towns do is survey, like a formal survey, Survey Monkey, Google Forms, whatever form it takes. I will just say you have to be very, very intentional about, and I'm sure human resources or human services would do this well, but you have to be very intentional about who you send it out to. That's once
Mhm.
again, you have to prove in the equity toolkit write-up that the outreach was done very comprehensively.
Mhm. What if it would be, for example, everybody that uses the food bank, for example, got a paper survey and then they were asked to return it back to Human Services, without names, because, we want to be sensitive to people who may be concerned. And again, I don't know the numbers of people that use our food bank,
Mhm.
but that was a thought. I don't know how large this underserved population, so to speak, has to be to qualify. If we had 30 families in town that were really struggling and they could help us understand what other resources or services might be helpful to them, would that be a large enough number basically to satisfy that category?
I'm not of the understanding that there's a minimum. That's something that would definitely be good to work out with an equity coach. The one thing I will say is after the survey, we usually like to see some sort of completed project. So whether
Mhm.
that be a strategic plan or an implementation of whatever feedback was from the survey. So just yes, that seems like it would be a really great start of an idea to talk about an equity toolkit, just noting that there also has to be that additional step of implementation.
Absolutely. Yeah, understandable. I mean, why do a survey if you're not going to respond to it in some
Exactly.
way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing also that I just thought of would be the low-income heating assistance, LIHEAP. I don't know if we know at Town Hall who's participating in the low-income heating assistance, but that might be another community that we could do outreach for. What I'd love to see us be able to do, let's say that there's 15 families in town that are using LIHEAP. Um, if we were able to get a grant that we could give 5 of those people heat pumps and solar
Mhm.
instead of just subsidizing their oil purchases, which all they're going to do is burn it.
Right.
If we gave 5 of them heat pumps and solar, and we did that this year, and then we did 5 more next year, and 5 more the year after that, well, now we've got 15 people that are no longer on LIHEAP.
Right.
And if we could do that with grant money, it wouldn't cost them anything. Um, and they'd get reliable heat and electricity, um, and not need. Oops, looks like Katie froze and she needs to be admitted again.
That's a good idea, John. The other thing with that came to my mind would be, um, how many of those people need more assistance with, like winterizing their homes? Like, are they
Right,
familiar with those
right.
programs? Yeah.
Yeah. As far as winterization is concerned, we had, when we first went with our geothermal system, we got through Eversource, we got almost $8,000 worth of insulation for $3,000. And that was a zero interest loan on my electric bill. So for the next 3 years, I paid $83 a month. Um,
Mhm.
and we got R60 in the attic.
We also
Um,
got free siding.
yeah, I'm going to that, hon. Yeah. My wife is chiming in. Um, and then about I don't know 2 3 months ago, I got a postcard from Eversource saying you still have rebate money available.
Mhm.
So I followed the link on the postcard and I found JT Energy Systems in Windsor. They came up and insulated all the side walls of my house. They did it from the outside. They took the siding off, drilled holes, packed it with insulation, and then put the siding back on. They were in and out in a single day, and it cost me nothing. In
Mhm.
that instance, it was about $3,200 worth of insulation packed into the walls, um, and that cost me nothing at all. Those are the types of programs that if someone's living in poverty and their home is not well insulated, they deserve free insulation just like I do. I mean, at the time that I did that, I was gainfully employed.
Right.
Um, and so, for people that are struggling, I think that something like that would really help them as well.
Right. So
Obviously, I think that would be maybe one of our questions on the survey that
right.
we would put up. Are you interested in insulation for your home to seal air gaps, et cetera?
Right. I mean, I think you need to determine how many people are homeowners versus renters because we don't know.
Mhm.
I don't think we really have a good handle on the folks living in town, like you said, that are living in poverty. Our rate is high, and I suspect it's high because of the students. Because even if you look at Mansfield, which is a fairly affluent town, it has a higher poverty rate than we do. And it's because they have off-campus student housing and things too. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know how you capture that. We might be able to get in touch with the university. They may know how many students live in Wellington.
Hmm.
But I don't know that they necessarily know their income data. That
Right.
would be more of like census data, but like you said,
Yeah.
maybe that
Well,
other data haven would help.
yeah. I know that at Walden Apartments, there is 60 two-bedroom apartments and 50 one-bedroom apartments. So you can figure 170 people can live there comfortably. When I lived at Walden a lifetime ago, we had 4 people in a two-bedroom apartment. So there could be more, right? The way Walden does it these days is they put their apartments out at an really attractive low rate, and they invite people to apply, and they choose the grad students. They don't choose anybody else. There's no freshmen. There's no sophomores. They choose the grad students, and the grad students are studious,
Mhm.
and they're not partying like maybe I did in the 1980s.
There are also people living, we have many more people that are purchasing homes in town and then renting them to students. They're not
Uh-huh.
living on site. That's something that came up at planning and zoning. Again, they're renting, but those are private homes.
Right,
So how do we capture that information? It's really hard to know. Um,
right.
they may be counted as people in poverty, they're students renting, there might be a bunch of students renting a house. So I don't know how we capture it, but maybe starting with human services and just finding out how many people are utilizing
Yeah,
those
yeah,
resources. Yeah.
sure. Sure. Okay, so I think we have a roadmap. I think that we certainly want to hold a community outreach event or a community education event, as well as get a survey out to some folks through human services if we can. This seems to me like that's a good place to begin. Does anybody have anything else for Katie, or could we let her go at this point?
I just have one other thought I would say is, we might check with some other towns like Mansfield and find out what underserved population they chose, because I think they have gold certification for
Okay.
CT, sustainable
Yeah.
city. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great idea. Thanks, Kathy. Katie, you keep dropping out.
I know, it's like every other time I click the audio turn on off button, it signs me off. So I'm just gonna leave it on. Okay, what did I miss?
Yeah, we were just talking about how to do outreach, and one thing Kathy pointed out was that we could reach out to the Mansfield folks because they're already gold certified and see how, see how they did things more or less.
Perfect.
So I think we have a roadmap here now to begin with. Anyhow, I'd like to schedule some kind of an event for maybe late May or early June to try and get people to come out and talk about energy needs. Um, and and then we can also do a survey with the equity toolkit over at Human Services and get things started that way. See what they're interested in, and see what we can do to help.
Sure.
So
I have two quick final thoughts. One,
sure,
very exciting. Sustainable CT hires fellows at every COG during the summer. So starting at the beginning of June through certification in August, there will be a fellow who is able to help you in addition to myself, just do anything regarding certification. So just pointing that out
great.
there now. Super exciting. Like I said, they'll be probably reaching out to you in early June. Um, and then the other thing I wanted to note was that for Mansfield, the founder of Sustainable CT, Lynn Soddard, actually runs Mansfield's Sustainable CT team. And you can
No
get
wonder they're gold.
yeah, and you can get points for collaborating and working with other municipalities. So
Okay.
if you don't find a way to reach out to them, I'm happy to reach out to Lynn and ask if she'd be interested in working with you, whether it's a collaboration or mentorship or whatever that relationship may be.
Great, great. Katie, one other thing. Kathy Demers is on our Conservation Commission, and on the roadmap, I saw a lot of stuff where we seem to have crossover with ConCon. Kathy, did you have any questions on the stuff that's in there concerning conservation?
Not at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of stuff regarding natural resources, watershed management, that kind of stuff. I think that there's some things we're actually doing. Our town is working with 7 other towns um, regarding the Natchog watershed, which is the largest drinking water watershed in the state of Connecticut. So, I mean, some of that work probably would I think just kind of what I was reading might qualify for some credits. Um, we have some old natural resourcing inventories. I don't know how up to date all of that has to be to get credit. Do you have an idea on that?
Sure. So as long as you provide a statement saying that it's still the most updated, most relevant version that's used by the municipality, we don't really have an expiration date for inventories. We know that they're old and they're often used for a long time.
Okay, thanks.
Great, great.
I have a question for Katie. Um, I'm still trying to grasp how this all fits in, but interesting that we can talk to Lynn in Mansfield and for some guidance as well. Uh, we're planning on doing a large PV project at our senior housing just off site, but it would be for the benefit of the housing authority. Does that qualify for points somehow,
Is
Katie?
that municipal land?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be 7.3.2 install solar on municipal land, and that you can get a lot of points for. I'm pretty sure that solar would have to be in the last 3 years. So, for example, if you were looking to get certified this August, the solar would have had to been installed after January 1st, 2023.
2023. Well, okay.
Okay.
Well, it would be after because it's not installed yet.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Yes. So then
Right.
once it's installed, you'll be able to earn credit for 3 years.
and
Do you
that
have a timeline on that, Don? Do you know what the timeline is?
I don't. At this point in time, I think we got at least our insurance information for that parcel to Earthlight so that they can submit that to Eversource as part of the interconnection agreement. Even though the insurance certificate says 60 Old Farms Road, and the parcel is going to be on the same land as a senior center, which is 20 Senior Way. So the street address doesn't align, but there's a letter that says why from the selectmen in 2015.
Okay.
So maybe that'll fly with Eversource, but that's where we are now. And we were told that other projects are ahead of us now. So we'll be pushed back. Actually, I'm not sure whether it's 2027 or whether it's mid 2026. I don't know enough yet, other than it's
Okay.
183 kW, so good size system.
Good. Good. Yes, Kathy. Oh, you're muted.
What's the deadline this year for certification? When do you have to have things in by?
April 14th is our spring deadline, so that's a bit too soon. But for the fall deadline, it's Tuesday, August 18th, and they're always at noon.
Okay, so this is done on like a biannual basis, basically? Is that how it runs or?
Yes, so every year we have an April and an August deadline. There's no difference between them. It's really whichever one you prefer. The
Yeah.
only difference is in the summer we have, like I said, those fellows to act as a personal assistant for you.
Okay, and they can help even if we haven't been certified. Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay,
They'll
and
help you at any point. As long as you're registered with Sustainable CT, their help is available.
okay,
Great.
and you have to recertify every year. Is that correct?
Certification lasts for 3 years.
Oh,
So we see a lot of municipalities, for example, if you want to get silver or gold, a lot of time people will do bronze and then the next year silver, work their way up. So if you're doing that, sometimes it's an every year, but you can just do bronze, leave it alone for 3 years, and then get bronze again.
okay. And then once you get certified, what are the benefits of being certified versus not being certified? If that makes any
Sure.
sense.
So this year, for the first time, Sustainable CT offered a financial incentive. So it was $100,000 split amongst all of our climate leader designations. Climate leader is a requirement for gold, and it's a worksheet that you can add on to bronze or silver. So I wouldn't consider it a whole different application. It's just a Word document that you have to do. I think it would be really interesting for Wellington to do that, especially since you said you're looking for funding. Climate leader designation is focused on energy and greenhouse gas reductions. So it's only the actions that are focused on that. So like I said, it seems like it'd be of its particular interest to this group. But aside from that, we do a lot of information sharing. So every time your information is reviewed, we publish what we call our success stories for every action. And it's essentially a way for you to show other towns what you're working on. Wellington Now's registered community has access to see the work that other towns have done. And it's a really great resource for everyone involved in the program and
Great.
bragging rights.
Yeah,
Terrific.
that's great. Thank you.
Of course.
Does anyone have anything else for Katie? Okay. Katie, thank you so much for being here tonight. Really appreciate your help. Stay in touch by email, and I'll be in touch. We're going to want to get something scheduled. I think we'll probably add that to new business for our next meeting, and
Perfect.
we'll get something scheduled this summer, June, July timeframe.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. And I will follow up about the Green Bank workshops and the equity coaches soon.
Oh, and one other thing I wanted to mention, everything I did here at my house, I did through Green Bank.
Awesome.
Okay. Green Bank got me my loan for my geothermal system. I had been a Connecticut resident for about a week. And I was a Connecticut resident. So I called them up. I said, "Yeah, I live in Connecticut," and I was qualified to use the program.
That's
So
awesome.
it is just an absolutely awesome program. Like I said, they got us our loans for geothermal. They got us our loans for installation. They got us the loan for the solar, and just most recently a loan for the battery. We put two Tesla Powerwall 3s on the side of the house in December of last year. So the Green Bank is a fantastic program, and I highly recommend them.
Incredible. I'll pass along the message.
Yeah, tell them they're great, and but that could also be part of whatever community event we do. We can tout Green Bank. I can talk about my own experience with them.
Yeah, they love that.
Oh yeah, that's the kind of that's the kind of word of mouth advertising that's worth worth way more than anything you're going to get at WFSB, right?
Mhm.
Yes,
Does the Green Bank have a pool of speakers that can come out to towns to talk if we set something up? Yeah.
Yes, so there's two workshops that they focus on. It's Smart E, which is over 90 plus home improvement projects that's geared towards residents, excuse me, and then CPACE, which is geared towards business and municipal property owners. Each of those workshops has an expert speaker from the Green Bank, so they're happy to do it together. They're happy to host two separate ones. I'm working with Kent right now. They had a series. So it started with the Green Bank speaker about solar, and then it switched to like the Eversource side of things, and then the residential experience. So there's a lot of flexibility there.
Oh, that's great. And
Mhm.
do you know if anybody in Eastern Connecticut, any of the other municipalities are doing anything like that soon? Because sometimes it's good to, if there's somebody close by, you can partner, you can get more people at one session. Do you know of anybody else in Eastern Connecticut?
The only people I can think of right now are Groton. Right now, it's all in the western half of Connecticut that's focusing on CPACE. So
Okay.
One funny note that I just want to impart here. My wife and I are constantly seeing ads for M&T Bank on where we watch a lot of UConn stuff, UConn basketball, etc. And M&T Bank is a sponsor. And so we call them Empty Bank, which is kind of incongruous, but it's funny. And then I applied for a Smart E loan through the Green Bank for the battery, and my wife asked me the question, can we get a Smarty loan from an empty bank? Um, so, weird sense of humor around this house, but you can mention that to the Green Bank folks too and see what they say.
I will.
All right.
Thank
Katie,
you,
thank you
Katie.
so much for being here tonight. Really appreciate all your help, and we'll be in touch to get lots more done.
Sounds good. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
All right. Moving on to old business 4B. Discuss financial advantages to Wellington being classified as a distressed municipality as designated by the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development. So I don't know the exact criteria here. Don, have you found anything out?
No, I haven't. I was hoping you knew more about it. That's where I was coming from.
Yeah, let me
I know it's good for car rebates, EVs rebates. I think are beneficial being in a distressed municipality.
you mean for the town to purchase EVs or for
Uh,
any?
well, maybe, but for town residents to purchase EVs, I think they're eligible for more cheaper money through that program of cheaper than uh, people with high incomes not in distressed municipalities.
Okay, I'm having a hard time getting this page to load. I don't know why.
I know Brenda was having trouble logging in because she had internet issues, but that was romantic. So
I I'm having trouble with my internet too. It's not loading pages. So it cannot be loaded. I don't know why.
Hmm.
well, we can put that one off for another meeting.
Yeah, I think maybe we probably should. I'd like to talk to Mike McCoo about it as well. He might know more. Certainly, he may know more than I do. Um, so perhaps we should just put that off to another meeting.
Can I ask a question? Was there a reason why this is on your agenda? Like why your commission was interested?
Well, because
Oh,
I thought that perhaps there might be grant money available to help us with renewable energy projects or anything along those lines.
Hmm.
I'm not sure exactly what's available to us through the distressed municipalities, but if it's advantageous at all, I'd like to take advantage of it.
Okay. I know that like when we've gone for open space grant money, like just having the town be identified as a distressed community gives you extra points on grants, but I don't know that distressed communities are eligible for other particular things. So that's why I was asking.
I think it might be advantageous with battery incentives. I can't recall now whether that's the fact that Button Hill is low income and we qualify, or because of the distressed municipality. Not sure.
It definitely did apply a year or two
Hey,
ago because
Bill, move your mic.
move my mic.
Yeah, you're
Or
really fuzzy, Bill.
Uh, Wait a minute. How's that?
it's 50% better.
Well, about a year or two ago,
Much better.
cheaper energy was cheaper program was giving additional advantage to the southern portion of Wellington, as well as Mansfield as a adjudicated economic area.
It could have been economic justice. Is that the term? Maybe. But
Maybe
yeah. But I mean, for EV rebates, I think, and of course, we're talking about cheaper program on item C, but um, the rebates are better on EVs if you're in a distressed municipality, I believe. $1,000 versus maybe 4,500 in rebates.
And I'm finding some stuff about what distressed municipalities can get. One of them is property tax reimbursement program, 5-year state reimbursement of a portion of the property tax loss a town sustains as a result of property tax exemptions granted to qualified manufacturing facilities. I'm not so sure that we have any qualified um, manufacturing facilities in town. Eversource has something about incentives, but doesn't really help. It shows me the list of distressed municipalities, but that's not.
Yeah, we're finally on the list. That's good. Or bad, but whatever. I think it's good from a incentives perspective.
Okay, distressed municipalities in Connecticut receive targeted state support to boost economic development, alleviate fiscal strain, and improve community infrastructure. Key benefits include property tax reimbursement on manufacturing equipment, 80% property tax abatements for business expansion in enterprise zones, and access to specialized grants like Urban Act grants. Finding a whole lot more about the benefits, though.
Yeah. Well, we
Urban
like I
Act
said,
grants. Urban Act grants exclusive access to funding for community conservation, neighborhood revitalization, and quality of life improvements. So that is quality of life improvements is what I was talking about earlier. If we can identify people who are on low income heating assistance, a quality of life improvement for them would be heat pumps and solar. So I wonder if we can do anything along those lines. We can also get increased development grants. State development grants for municipal projects can cover up to 65% of net costs in distressed areas versus the standard 50%. Community Investment Fund, targeted state borrowing that has invested hundreds of millions into economic development specifically for these communities. I think we definitely want to take advantage of all of this, whether or not it's something WiSE does or that we just urge the Board of Selectmen to do.
I'd suggest that you talk to Mike D'Amato, who actually gets very involved with going for like LoSiP grants and things like that. He may know
Yeah,
more about that. I
yeah,
mean,
that's a great idea, Kathy.
Mike McCoo might too, but yeah, I know that Mike D'Amato has been involved in that, so. And he actually works for a lot of other towns that maybe are getting, those kinds of grants. Maybe I don't know if he works in other distressed towns. Um, but he's in Ashford. But again, I think it's based on your population's income. Is that
Yeah,
usually?
it's population, income, tax base. There's a couple of uh,
Mhm.
different criteria. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I made a note here to talk to Mike D and Mike M. Do you want to move on? Does anybody else
Yeah,
have
I
anything
got
about this?
4C. Yeah.
Okay. Is the cheaper rebate still available? That's item
Yes.
C on our agenda. It
Yes.
is. Okay. Do we have like a PDF describing it? I'll just upload that to the website.
I was talking earlier to Bill, and I think that probably what we need to do is write about 2 sentences with a link to cheaper
Okay.
and let somebody else try to jump through the either income hoops or vehicles that are allowed and all the other
Yeah,
criteria that
as long as we point them in the right direction, that's really all we can do.
right.
Okay. So let's do that. In the agenda, we have a link to cheaper. Let me follow that link real quick. Okay, yeah, it certainly looks like it's still active. I think that's really all we need. Do we want to do a quick screen share and I'll make the change, or I'll add it. I'll add a page to our website.
Okay.
Give me a sec. I'm going to log in here. Okay. Okay. So let me share my screen. And it's clocking. Okay. Page title, cheaper rebates.
EV bicycle and car rebates or e-bikes and EV auto rebates.
How about just EV and e-bike
Okay.
rebates? Whoops, let's spell rebates correctly.
Put an and in there.
Yep. Well, page language. It will link to cheaper. Whoops. Cheaper is not in my browser. All right, description. The cheaper program has rebates available for the
From
purchase.
$1,000 to $5,000. Doesn't look like that page has been updated much. The e-bikes page.
Yeah,
They're talking about the incentive program being the people being notified by December 16th, 2024.
that's been a little while.
Yeah,
Is that good enough? Cheaper program has rebates available from $1,000 to $5,000 for the purchase of an electric vehicle or bike. Click the link for more information.
other than the fact that it doesn't appear to be that for a bike, because of the outdated information. Um, I don't know that I don't know how to address the fact that
I,
the
I think
bike.
I think this is generic enough. If it turns out
Okay,
that it's no longer available, then that's the way it turns out. But
yeah, okay. I'm gonna go back to Zoom.
okay, so how do I add the page? I'll create page. There it is. Page tags are invalid. Okay, what did I do wrong? Page tags are invalid. I have no idea what if they want me to do a meta tag. Looks like they wanted
It,
me to format them.
oh, it looks like you had to put commas. If you went back, there's information below it.
Okay.
If you read the text below it, John.
Yeah, it says commas are not required.
Oh, I'm so
But
sorry.
for an example, meta, name equals author, content equals John Doe.
Ah,
Yeah, they want me to format HTML meta tags, and I haven't done those in years. So
okay.
I think we're good enough here. And now I have two of them. Oh, there's got to be a way to. It's odd. It doesn't have our two sentence text in there.
I'll agree with the fact that it's odd. I
Okay,
I can't follow it any further than that.
so let me see if I go back
You
in
got rid of
here.
that extra page. That's good.
Yeah, no, it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to come back here and edit this page. I thought that maybe that little control right there would let me edit it, but it doesn't. If I say plus, it's going to bring me to get a new page. I don't want a new page. This,
What does it say if you log out? The same thing?
right now, I can save and publish. And I suppose let's save and publish and then see if it will allow me to edit it.
There's a link now versus a draft.
Yep. Okay, well, this will be good enough for now. At least we have it on the website. We can take it off of our agenda. It's been on there for how long, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for doing the heavy lifting, John.
It's heavy, all right. Um, Item D, discuss the status of the revised letter. We just did get a heat pump assessment for the library, so I'll work on that letter and have something available for next month that we can refer over to the Board of Selectmen for the library project to see if we can get grant money for that somehow.
Yeah.
But I have solar, I have a solar quote, a battery quote, and a heat pump quote for the library now. The total came to $403,000. If we can get grant money to pay for that, then so much the better. We would save a ton on the propane bill and the electric bill at the library. So I think it's a worthwhile project to pursue. But I'll write it all up for the library project, and we'll put that in
Okay.
front of the BOS.
Can you go to our homepage from where you're at?
Can you guys hold on just a second? I've got a call coming in.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, just a sec. Why is my Zoom not letting me see the Zoom now? The Zoom. Boom, boom, boom. I'm in a meeting, Ben. Hold on.
Oh, no. Call me when you're done.
Okay, we'll do. Is one of my best friends in the world. We have a wake to go to in the morning.
Oh,
Yeah, my cousin died. He's 20 years older than me. Mark is good friends with one of my cousin's sons, Bobby. So we're meeting up in Waterbury tomorrow morning.
I was just curious about those dates on the right-hand side, and I see they no longer reflect Monday days. They
Yeah,
are now Wednesday days.
I fixed those yesterday, figuring that we had 2 days until our meeting and we had to have the right date on the website. So
Okay.
I fixed those yesterday. I wasn't able to fix all the others. There's more of them scheduled for the rest of the year. I got to talk to somebody at town hall about how we go about fixing those. I don't know how to do it, but I was able to fix these because they're right here.
Okay.
And I'm going to turn live edit off. All right, moving on. New business 5A, discuss the library solar project. So yeah, I already did kind of discuss it that we've got a quote for 403,000 total between solar panels, batteries, and heat pumps. And again, it'd probably cut the propane bill in half, and it would certainly get rid of a lot of the electric bill. 40,000 kilowatt hours worth of the electric bill would be gone. Of course, the electric bill would go up if we're using electric heat pumps, but the solar should provide a good chunk of what those solar heat pumps are going to want to use.
Did it also mention rebates?
Yeah, he did have rebate information available in the quote for the heat pumps. It wasn't dramatic. It was $185,000 for the heat pumps, and the rebates totaled about $20K. So still in all, I mean, I'm not going to turn up my nose at $20K. I don't think anybody would, right? So I really think that that's a good project and well worth pursuing. We just weren't able to get it in time for the congressional directed spending in this round. But that's another area where I want to talk to Mike D'Amato about getting grants for it so that we can make that happen. Anybody have any thoughts on the library project?
You're going to be able to calculate savings based on the information you have?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just by looking at the bill, the estimate is 50% of the propane bill. And then if we look at an electric bill, find out the electric rate per kilowatt hour, and then multiply that by 42,000, there's our savings on electricity. For instance, if it's 30 cents per kilowatt hour, 42,000 comes out to
126.
Yeah, it comes out to almost $10,000 or a little over $10,000. probably closer to $13,000. So both of those, I think, are well worth pursuing, especially if we can get grant money to make it happen, so that we aren't asking the taxpayers to foot the bill and then pay the bill during the interim. If we have to get some money from the taxpayers, some portion of it, that's better than getting all of it from the taxpayers. So, anybody have any other thoughts on that?
I just wonder whether there's CPACE money that would help with that or not. I don't know.
I don't think so because the town owns the property. CPACE is more for commercial properties.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think CPACE would apply in this instance. But there may be grants through Sustainable CT. Do you want to move on to 5B?
Yeah,
Yes.
discuss any further progress with regards to
Yeah.
monitoring the heat pump, the pump house electricity. I haven't made any progress on that. I'm not sure how much progress we need to make on it, other than finding out maybe temperature settings in that room, um, before we make a suggestion to the selectmen.
Yeah, I know that we have really old heaters in there, correct, Don?
I I I know there's at least one electric, excuse me, resistive suspended heater in the room. I'm not sure if there's more. I'm not sure what they're set at. Nor do I know whether they're oversized and we should just turn one of them off so that our demand goes down. I don't know. So,
All right, let's investigate further. We'll keep that on
yeah,
under old business for our next meeting.
yes.
Okay. 5C, discuss that Eversource is now paying 6.72 cents per kilowatt hour for excess solar generation that was not utilized as of the March 24th, 2026 invoice or bill. What bill was that from, Don? Was that the senior center?
That's essentially what they paid me for my excess, about 7,000 kilowatt hours, as opposed to a nickel. It's now almost 6.7 cents. So their daily solar wholesale rate, or whatever it is called, has increased this year. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's significant. Penny and
So
a
that
6.7. Go ahead.
that's your personal solar power?
Yes. Yeah.
It,
So
it's
that,
it's odd that you're getting a payout on that.
well, I did it when they didn't limit the size of the system. So I've got 110 solar panels in my backyard, 114, and I produce more than I consume.
Right.
Someday, when I try to heat with my heat pumps all winter long, exclusively, maybe I'll consume all my excess. I don't know.
All right. So you end up at the end of the year, you ended up with 7,000 kilowatt hours overage, and they
Right,
said, okay, we're going to reimburse you for this
right. They credit my bill, and then I burn a lot of that up during the
during the winter
following
months.
year in
Yeah.
uh, combined benefits charges and meter charges, and
Yeah.
some transmission charges.
Yeah. It's almost a shame because I know that on my bill, when I overproduce in the summertime, they give me kilowatt hour credits. And then in the fall and winter, when I start underproducing, um, those credits count full retail value. Per kilowatt hour. In Massachusetts, they would issue a credit to your bill based on the amount you were paying for electricity. They say, okay, you overproduced 1,000 kilowatt hours. A kilowatt hour today costs 27 cents, so we're going to issue you a credit of $270. Then in the winter, when you use that credit up, typically in the winter, your electricity rate is higher because they generate power with natural gas, and there's competition for natural gas because people heat with it as well. So the price of gas goes up every winter. When the price of gas goes up every winter, the price of electricity goes up every winter. So here I earned $275 in July, In December, I'm paying 36 cents per kilowatt hour instead of 27. So that $270 gets eaten up quicker because my electricity rate is higher at that time of year. Here in Connecticut, they don't do it that way, which I thought was really forward thinking. That's better than what they did in Massachusetts. And Massachusetts has a pretty good net metering program. So to that end, Connecticut's net metering program is actually better. Naturally, they screwed that up, and now EverSource is offering this buy all, sell all program where if you put new solar, if I added solar to my property right now, they wouldn't let me net meter any of it. They would pay me 32 cents a kilowatt hour for the power. So any additional solar that I add really is just an investment. And the 32 cents a kilowatt hour that they pay me, I would use to pay off the loan. And eventually the loan would be paid off and then I would get money. But it's not nearly the same as taking it off your electric bill and not having a bill to pay. So, you know, there's so many different ways of doing things. I'm surprised that they're giving you 6.7 cents for 7,000 kilowatt hours. You know, like you said, it's way better than five. So, congrats on that.
And
Just
just to be
seems low.
clear, yeah,
Yeah.
just to be clear, I mean, I still have the net metering bank. So kilowatt hours go into that bank during the year. They come out of that
Yeah.
bank during the year at whatever the retail price is. Whereas opposed to your Massachusetts case where
Yeah.
it's you're getting a little bit of the short end of things in the winter. And that what they paid me for my excess is when they squared up on March 24th, which is usually
Okay.
in March when they do their square up and say, okay, we did our net metering for the year, but now it's a new year, so we're going to pay you for
Right.
whatever excess you have in the bank,
Right.
what
So,
we would pay
so
for wholesale, and after that, um,
yeah.
and then you're
So,
back down
so,
to zero in the bank and go
so
for it.
basically, I've never experienced that because I produce enough power during the summer to get me through until probably, mid-December, and then I'm paying a bill again.
Right.
Um, so when I get to the middle of March, my
Yeah.
bank is at zero. They're not going to give me anything for that. And then I build my bank up again over the summer, and then I burn it up in November, December.
Yep.
Okay,
That's correct.
makes sense.
And it's hard, I think, to add more solar. But it's probably not that hard to add more solar panels, but it's hard to add them to an existing system. I don't think they
Well, yeah,
allow that.
they won't let me add them to my existing system for net metering. I'd have to. Yeah, if I do have room on my back roof, I could put another 10 solar panels up there and get some east facing sun. Um, but I wouldn't get the production that would make it worthwhile because they're only going to pay me for each kilowatt hour I produce. They're not going to let me net meter it on my bill.
Okay.
So the
Yep.
other option that I have there is to put in a commercial account here at my house and get a separate electric account for a greenhouse or something. And then in that instance, I could, with a separate account, I could put solar on it and it would be solar on a brand new account. They'd let me get net metering. Um, but they won't let me add to my net metering on my personal account right here. So I may end up doing that. I may end up putting a greenhouse in on my other property in back of my house. So if I do that, that's the route that I intend to take is that I'll get a separate electricity account over there, and then I'll
And
add solar.
USDA REAP grants were available for that. I don't know
Yeah, I'm
whether
not
the
sure
word
what happened with those. I think the big beautiful bill may have killed them.
either that or the Trump administration, um, when they see the word solar, they just deny the application. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, tell me about the Trump administration. I lost my job in solar power in February, so yeah, I don't
Costing
exactly
everybody money, but okay.
have a lot of fondness for them right now. Um, okay, are we all set with that one?
Yes.
Moving on to 5D. Discuss energy storage solutions for new incentives and calculator at energystorageCT.com. Yeah, I went over there and I expressed interest in that, and I don't think I ever heard from them.
Okay. Well, I did a webinar on it with Ed Cranich did the webinar. And
Okay.
there's a calculator there that works out really well for our low income seniors and batteries. Um, it basically makes batteries from what used to be a calculation that didn't pencil out to one that I think does pencil out, but I need to investigate it further.
Aha! Customers in distressed municipalities qualify for a $450 per kilowatt performance incentive. Oh, I realize why I emailed them. Because in order to start with the program, they want me to choose a contractor and have my eligible equipment get installed. I've
Uh,
already so yeah, I don't think that there's a way for me to sign up until I like choose an installer, but I've already chosen my installer, so I'll try to get in touch with them again. But I definitely want to take advantage of this program for my own purposes.
yeah,
And this is yet another thing that we can talk to folks about at our community outreach event. To say that due to us being a distressed municipality, you also get an extra incentive if you get solar and battery. Um, and if people can get those through CT Greenbank, so much the better. And another thing I forgot to mention about CT Greenbank, um, the loan for my geothermal is at 3%. The loan for my solar is at 6%. My battery, I think, is 7.5%. So very low interest rates comparatively. I mean, if I went to the bank right now to try and borrow something, they'd probably want 18%. So, it's comparatively low interest rates through CT Greenbank as well. All right, so that's certainly something to earmark. I'm going to try and find out more about it for my own personal use, and then I'll have my own case study to use at any community outreach event that we hold.
yeah.
Anybody else want to discuss that further?
No.
No, we're good. Moving on to 5E, discuss the wording of the line item we'd like to use to be included on the selectmen's webpage as a board search in search of new members. Um, I would just say something along the lines of join the Willington Wise Guys. Uh, we have T-shirts. I don't know. Jen's telling me I have to make T-shirts. So, what do you guys think? Don, do you want to write something up real quick? I mean, I don't think the wording is like anything that we really need to vote on, is it?
No, I don't think we need to vote on it. We just need to come up with some wording for it. So, um,
Yeah.
I don't know if I appreciate the Wellington Wise guys, but I don't think so. Uh,
Perhaps we just say the Wellington Sustainability and Energy Committee has currently has 3 openings. Um, we're searching for ways for Wellington to be more sustainable and reduce operating costs, thereby reducing tax increases or keeping tax increases to a minimum, something along those lines.
okay.
Join us, help us. Don't be Nick Tella. Sorry, I shouldn't say that on a recorded meeting, should I?
Okay. Um, I'll work on that wording
Okay.
and yeah.
And
Discuss how. Go ahead.
go ahead, yeah, moving on. 5F, discuss how we might best fix the website typos and misnaming of the committee, such as those included on the list page. Let me see if I can edit that list page. Committees. Okay, so I have live edit on, but
Can you
how
share it?
do I? Oh, sure, sorry.
I can pretend to learn something while you're doing it.
Good, because it'll be you and me both. Okay. Oh, wait. It's not, is it the Agenda Center where we're called Sustainable Energy
Could
Committee?
be. Could very well
Yeah,
be.
yeah, I think that's what it is. So if I go here, no. View recent agendas and minutes. View most recent agendas and minutes.
What was that anchor?
Okay, here it is. Live edit is on. I don't see a way to edit it.
Okay.
It could be that I don't have access to this page. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to ask someone at town hall to fix that. Mike finally has an admin assistant. I'll call her tomorrow and see if she knows how to edit the
Hannah.
agendas. Yeah,
Johanna.
Hannah.
Hannah.
Yeah. Okay, so 5F, I'll deal with that. I'll see if I can get somebody at town hall to change that for us.
Okay.
All right, moving on to item 6, approval of minutes from March 9th. You did distribute those, didn't you, Don?
I did not. I mean, they're on the website if you want to click where we're at right now.
All right, I'm going to stop share. Jump into the website here. So these are our minutes from that's the agenda.
Minutes from March 9 and
Oh,
March
okay.
20. Sustainable Energy Committee. That's weird. That's the Agenda Center. I guess I don't want that. But doesn't the Agenda Center usually have minutes too? Weird. Okay.
I thought.
Yes. Oh, okay. Something's working on it now. Although I don't see anything from 2026. Well, maybe I didn't click on the right year. Okay. April 8 agenda.
Okay, I got it. If you go to the agenda center on the right hand side, there's two. There's one that's got the meeting link, and then the other one has a minutes link.
March 25 and March 9th minutes in there. Okay.
Yeah, this all looks good to me. On the March 9th meeting, I would move that we approve the minutes for March 9th as written.
Okay, it's JT 3 9 minutes. Motion. I'll second the motion. DB
And
second.
a motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
Then we go to the March 26, 25
Yep.
meeting.
Reading them right now. Okay, I would move that we accept the meeting minutes from March 25th as written.
Second.
Yep, we're short. Okay.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay. Abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
That second was by Bill Bennell?
Yep.
Okay. W. Bennell, whatever, yes.
William.
Yep.
Okay, that's item 6. Item 7, correspondence. Have we got any correspondence?
Didn't have any 3 days ago when I was there.
Okay.
You said you were
Then
going to
I
write
think-
a letter, John,
I was going to write a letter.
just
To
so we
us.
had some correspondence. That's right.
Sorry if I let you down. I'll think of it someday. All right.
Okay.
In that case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Don will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, guys.
Adjourned was by me, what, 8:27 p.m.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Yep. 8.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Very,
Kathy,
very
thank
good
you so
meeting.
much for being here tonight. Yeah, real good meeting tonight. I like where we're going with sustainable CT. I think this is going to work out well. And Kathy, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your thoughts.
Thanks, guy.
Good night,
All right.
Good night, all.
And oh, Brenda, thank you for being here as well.
Thank you, Brenda.
Take care, everybody.
Welcome.
Yep.
Sorry I was late.
No
That's
worries. No
okay.
worries. We're here. All right, take care.